Let's talk about the debugger. What does that mean? Well, that's a tool that we have in PyCharm and many other IDEs, but since I'm using PyCharm, that's the one I'm going to get into, that allows you to step-by-step walk through your code and see what's available, what are the different values for the different variables and so forth. So just as an example, let's get into that. I have this factorial function, which is a recursive function, and let's walk through the debugger in a way. So what I want to say is that I want to go ahead and go line by line here and say, hey, in line number 3, I'm going to click here. You'll see this red dot that comes up. This will be a place. This will be a stopper, right? And as well as line number 7. Not number 7, number 8. I want it to stop in 3 and 8 as we walk through this. Again, you can unselect the red by clicking on it, but I'm going to just have 3 and 8, those two lines. I'm going to right click here and say debug factorial, which is this file. And I'm going to see this open up here, right? This is the cool thing about the debugger. So what we have is we have the main thread, and you can see that the module, factorial.py is the file at line number 13. Well, line number 13 is what executes, this invokes this function here called factorial, right? So right here, it's going to show you, it jumps into this factorial in line number 3, and that's where it first stops, right? So it calls factorial, it's in factorial pi, line number 3. It shows you what the value of n is at this point, is an integer. N is an integer, and it has a value of 5. And you could see that you have these options here, like step over, step into my code, step out, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to start going into step into my code, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step by step walk through this. So right now when we called factorial 5, it went in here. We can see here, by the way, we have n equals 5. It's similar to it's the same value here in my debugger. Well, that gets printed here just for obvious reasons. And you can actually click on here and you can change the value if you wanted to. So it's really, really powerful, but I'm not going to change the values. I just want to walk through it and see what the debugger gives me. So I'm going to say step into my code. So when n equals 5, we know that I'm making it stop here in line number 3. N is 5, but n is not equal to 0. It is not equal to 1, so it will not go into, it won't execute line 4. So we should see that if we say step into my code, we can see that it skipped over this return 1 because, of course, n equals 5, so it's not going to be equal to that 0 or 1. So that condition's never met, so it jumps in here. What happens here? Well, remember, we're in the factorial function in line number 8, n equals to 5. What happens if I go into step into my code? Well, it goes into factorial again at 5 minus 1, which is 4. And that's what we have here for 4. And notice how we have another addition to the stack, right? So the stack, if you remember, the stack, every time you call a function, well, you create a value on the stack that keeps those variables and those values for those variables at that stack. Why? Because you're calling a new function, and that new function has scope. It has a new new local scope, and therefore it's going to have, new values to n, for example. So at this particular factorial pi at line number 3, n equals 4, not 5, but here n equaled 5, if you remember. So we're adding to the stack, and this is great to see this visually, by the way. So we know that n equals 4. We know that 4 is not equal to 0 or 1, so we're going to skip 1 and go back to line 8. So let's click on step into my code so we can see that it's going to go to line 8. And it does go to line 8, where n equals 4. But it's stopping here because I have this stopper, right? This red dot on the left. So n equals 4, so 4 minus 1 equals 3. So if I click on step into my code again, we'll jump into the function factorial at line number 3, and n equals 3, right? line number 3, n equals 3, it's up here again. So you can see that we added the third, we inserted one more stack here in the stack. And let's continue through this. N equals 3, it is not equal to 0 or 1. We know it's not going to execute line number 4, it's going to go to line number 8. So let's go step into my code. And we can see that here it does go to 8. We only have 3, but as soon as we hit step into my code again, this n is going to equal to 2, because 3 minus 1 is 2, and it's going to add the fourth factorial.py at line number 8, right? This is going to be adding something to the stack, as we've been saying, and it does so here. So n equals 2 now, and this is the fourth one, right, on the stack. 2 does not equal 0 or 1, so it's gonna, it's gonna go to line number 8, and we'll do that here. And n is still 2, we can see that, and when we step into the code again, we could see that it is gonna go to 1. Well, here I made it stop on purpose because we wanted it to, this is really what I wanted to get into to make sure it stopped. 1 is not equal to 0, but it is equal to 1. 1 is equal to 1, so it's going to jump into return 1, right? When we return 1, well, it's not going to call itself anymore, and then it's going to come back to, it's going to get out of the stack and go back to this one. And then when we get out of the stack, it's going to go back to this one. And then we'll get out of the stack again, it's going to go back to this one. And so on and so forth until the whole stack is unwound, and we get the result that we need, which is a factorial, whatever was n minus 1, times whatever n was, right? So let's go ahead and step into my code. You'll see that this one gets popped. We'll go to return 1, and it's going to get popped. And of course I didn't have a stop, but it happened so quickly that it just returned this at the very end. Returned the n, whatever it was, and it just prints out the result. So a little bit of showing how the debugger actually works. It is very useful when you want to validate and confirm what values the variables have at a particular pieces, lines of code, right? Certain lines of code within your program, and you can troubleshoot and debug accordingly. There's way more to it, but at least this gives you a little bit of a taste for the debugger, and it's a nice thing to remember that IDEs do have, for the most part, they do have debuggers, which is better than just typing into a regular text editor, because even though you could do programming specifically like in Python and scripting languages in regular text editors, you don't have these bells and whistles, which are super useful when you need them.